Welcome to The Carpenter's Daughter,
the show where we dig into politics, culture, policy, art, faith, and pretty much everything in between.
Every week, we sit down together for real conversations about the issues shaping our world.
I'm Alexis, Confer, artist, political organizer, and lover of a deep dive.
And I'm Iffy Ike, lawyer, author, and perpetual question asker.
We bring our experiences, our curiosity, and our commitment to community
to unpack what's happening, why it matters, and how it impacts all of us.
This is The Carpenter's Daughter. Let's get into it. All right.
Sorry. First of all, I do have to comment because I know people can't see us, and I think it was a very robust policy conversation about you reviving the 80s.
Yeah, that's a good
in a modern way, 80s forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's an aesthetic that gets really underplayed, like the comfort level of everyone wearing like yoga pants as the main outfit. Like the 80s, like they dressed for the visual. You know what I mean? Like you're not wearing leg warmers for warmth, okay?
Exactly. If you hear an extra giggle, we're not talking to ourselves. We are, who's also given us, for those that are listening, amazing hair, which could probably go through like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Like,
versatile.
Yeah, this is very fame that I'm feeling right here, right?
Yeah.
So our today's episode, we have Sasha Hutchings, and we're beyond excited to dig in. Everybody sit back. Here's a bio.
Oh,
Sasha Hutchings is a stage and television actress and teaching artist. She is Cowgirl on Warriors, the new concept album by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Davis. Thank you for that. A lot of vowels. Sasha stars as Buddy in the television series Damascus, now streaming on Tubi. Y'all have to watch this.
Good.
Tubi. It's free. I promise you.
Take a moment to download it.
Look at your, you don't got to look at your,
on your phone,
your remote control. There is a Tubi button now. Sasha is an original cast member of Hamilton never heard of it, and appears in the Disney Plus Hamilton film, Both.
That was great.
Additional TV appearances include Run the World on Stars. We'll talk a little bit about, if we got time, about slashing amazing shows. Elsbeth, CBS, Fozzie Verdon, FX, Fosse.
Bob Fosse, for those who know, for those who love.
Yeah.
Love.
I haven't seen.
You've
Pippin.
You've seen.
Oh, okay.
Sweet
Yes.
Yeah, Sweet Charity.
And
Michael
Blue
Jackson.
Bloods, also never heard of it. On stage, Sasha recently joined the cast of Gypsy on Broadway, starring Audra McDonald. Previously,
Queen.
Sasha appeared on Broadway in the role of Lori in Oklahoma. It was fabulous.
Incredible.
And she later led the Broadway national tour in the same role. Additional Broadway credits include My Fair Lady, Rocky, Motown, I was about to say Mountain, I was like, whoa, and Memphis. As a teaching artist, Sasha collaborates regularly with New York City public school theater programs like Epic Theater Ensemble and the Arthur Miller Foundation, facilitating workshops for both students and educators and producing fundraising events. She loves craft cocktails, manatees, and houseplants in no particular order. Sasha is represented by Innovative Artists and the Booth Group. Thank you so much, Sasha, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love the loves at the end too. Manatees actually are really underrated.
Oh, yeah.
animal.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
They seem soft. Have you met one yet?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
In Florida?
Yes. In a clear canoe. In a clear bottom canoe, you can and I'm really trying to graduate to swimming with them because they winter in the springs of like Florida because they are very susceptible to hypothermia.
Yeah.
So when the water gets cold, they have to go into the shallow springs for the warm water and the heat with each other. And so during the winter, like January, February, you can go and see them. And by the hundreds, they're in these springs.
Yeah. I've seen a couple in Florida. They're really impressive.
Whoa.
Well,
sorry, as much as I've known you, Sasha, I had no idea that
it's a new thing that I'm sharing with the world. I'm delicate with my secret, but I do love them.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Who doesn't love an adorable animal floating in the water? Like river
Just
otters,
giant
like
potato.
just
Otters?
great. Yeah.
Don't badgers sometimes? Did I make that
They
up?
can really
Is that a
tear some
cartoon?
things up though. Badgers could be
Maybe it's
badgers,
otters.
very-
Otters
I
are
may
secretly
confuse
crazy.
otters and badgers.
river otters versus ocean. I don't know.
That's fair.
But they're cute and they hold
They are
hands,
so
so that's
cute.
like a thing.
They just
I feel like this brings us to how's your light. So Iffy and I started this podcast for a variety of reasons, but we really want to focus on the complex elements in all of us, which is carrying your creativity, your light through faith or whatever your kind of thing that's your source energy, as well as we're always gonna have to talk a little bit about movement and politics. That's just
yeah.
You can take the girls out of Jersey, but you know, how's your light? I mean, what's bringing you joy these days? Like in addition to Manatees, like what is the thing that's driving you? That's filling you with light?
Pilates.
I'm also
really loving it. Wrestling with that machine.
Yeah,
you get into it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's good. You
I've
just
had
get
a
on
couple
there,
classes.
Just work it out. I do really like that, and my abs are really getting in there.
Yeah, the core strength is
pretty
strength
incredible.
Is
crazy.
Yeah.
Excuse me as I straighten my.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I need better posture. I'm with a Fosse training. You know.
Okay. But like truly,
Continue.
Like it's been a fun thing. You see the same ladies all the time, and just like get on there and wrestle with the machine for 45 minutes. It's good endorphins. And then I think things like this. Honestly, I was thinking as I was sitting down, I was like, the world is crazy right now, but I do like slowly over the course of this year, which has been so dark in many ways, I see people turning inward and then sort of collecting their community and their people and creating. And as an artist and as someone who like loves work and story and what happens between humans, I think that really feels good. So I've been turning inward to myself and then into my community. Like, what can we make together? What can we produce together? What can we talk about together and then share out? And I think I have lots of friends and writers and just people who are doing the same, because it's just, it's not only is like there are a lot going on globally and socio-politically, but I think economically it's really hard. There's a lot, like in my industry, things are log jammed in a way that is we're all drowning. So I think, but I'm also in corners seeing people like writing and like, hey, can we read this thing? Can we come work on this? And I think that it just lets me know that like there's something that's like disconnected between what's being produced and what actually exists. And I mean produced, like put in front of you, like sort of getting that green light or going loud, and actually what's happening between us. And so hopefully those things find voice and stage and camera later, but I'm glad to see people that actually can't be stopped. And I think that brings me a little bit of light.
That's why I was so thrilled to have you on today. You know, Iffy and I have talked about this, like many people know us more in our political facets, but I run a theater company. Iffy, a writer, a playwright, a performer in her own right. And, you know, if you look at every major moment in history where there was political unrest or like change, creatives are activists in their own right. You know, I think just the art of creating is such an activist tool, but I think we need artists more than ever before right now. And just even from anything from bringing joy, but also like to help us think outside the box of like, how do you actually kind of create the world you want to create? So I was really thrilled to have you on for so many reasons, but
no, really quickly. I'm remembering when I wrote my first stage play and was finding out like what a reading was and and you know, going into like, what do you mean? Like, is it white box? Is it black box? Like, it was just like hearing all this terminology. I hadn't been on a stage since I was a child, and honestly just didn't find community. I probably could have been a theater kid, but I was like, there really isn't a community there to see. I think you're so right about how there's really this behind the scenes, super supportive, almost overwhelmingly supportive if you're like an introvert and not there all the time, creative community that like, even as a writer, I was there with my writing coach, like shaking the whole time as I'm watching people reading, and everyone was so supportive. Like they would read their lines and then look at me and be like, it's okay. It's a good line. It's really good.
Well, actors stress out when the playwright's there. That's like, that was also pressure for them.
Oh,
like
I don't think they felt that pressure. I was very visibly scared, but the support is always like, also you guys have the best like potlucks. Like I've just never seen anything like that. I want to dig a little bit deeper into that space of when you said that there are like a lot of people right now, you're doing it, other people are like looking inner and also producing from like a very positive, trying to produce from a place of like positivity and light, and not necessarily from a place of despair or desperation. So we have this segment called, Salt of the Earth. if you're not recognizing the tinge of the
biblical.
Pentecostal
Hallelujah.
and the little hallelujah in all of these.
The pastor's
Listen, however
daughter,
you
it's
feel,
bringing me
however-
fully back to my
whatever you feel
entire
about
formative years.
The Bible, it's got some good lines.
Yeah,
You
it
can
does.
get it. It does some great lines. We want you to kind of think about people, organizations, just things that really have been like, no matter what season, like the salt is there. So I know Alexis probably wants to kick us off with a question around
I
that.
do. I would love to. Thank you. So you're a daughter of the South.
Maybe not. Did you want me?
No, I thought maybe you were going to shout out some organizations first, but no, we're going right in. But I think this would be a catalyst for shouting out your organizations.
Yeah.
So you're a daughter of the South,
Yeah.
or so I'm told. And when you
Hallelujah.
reflect on your upbringing and Southern culture in general,
Yes.
who do you want to shout out or highlight as people have been supportive? What brought you on your journey? Because obviously, I mean, from my perspective as a theater kid growing up, like Broadway was the goal.
Yeah.
And it feels like not only have you dominated that, but you've also created all these different outlets for you've arrived.
Definitely have arrived.
You've arrived. Ta-da! Yeah. What were the influences in your life that encouraged you to go be someone who could hit those heights and to come to a different state?
Yeah.
I mean, I think people underestimate like coming to New York City in itself is kind of a
Wild.
huge feat. I mean, I grew up in Jersey as a nephew, so it's like it felt like the sister to the north, but to uproot yourself from a completely different region.
Yeah. Always a teacher, 100% always a teacher in some capacity. I work with a lot of arts education organizations now, like Arthur Miller Foundation here in New York City, as well as Epic Theater Ensemble. I just started collaborating with and working with Broadway Dreams, which is another, and it's just there's always a teacher that really unlocks something for you. And I think first and foremost, my parents supported everything I ever wanted to do. As many costumes as they had to buy for me to go to that dance competition, as many registration fees as there were, tuition, like it was such a constant. And I think the older I get and I see like what it means, I have friends who are like raising kids and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it's just a lot of money going out of the house all of the time.
Yeah.
And I think about the fact that they always prioritize, like you will have dance lessons. Like that is a thing that we see lights you up inside. And so you will, that's just a given. Like where, even to the point of like when we would move, it would be like, what schools are they? What are the good schools? And then where's the dance school in the area? So it was just always such a constant. My parents, they're supposed to do that. So then you have like the people who are going to like give you a little bit more feedback because they don't, they didn't birth you. And I always have
I know they have a little
No shortage of those.
You know what I mean? Saying, just like a little bit more truth. And I always just had like my second grade teacher, like Miss Miller, who's, since passed, like was just someone who always gave me like a special project, was like, you're going to teach them, you do this, you lead this, you paint this mural, you do this thing, you go to this gifted program. And I think that always like really propelled me. I think Miss Pam Malarzik, who's also since passed, was my dance teacher and studio director in high school. And she shoved the college brochure into my hand and was like, you need to do this. Like you need to dance. Cause I didn't have a concept of New York. We took trips to New York with that studio. Like she really planted those ideas in my head and like would point to the stage and be like, you can do this, even before I was thinking like it was anything I wanted to pursue. And then once she kind of cracked that door open, she was like, and this is how you're going to do it.
Wow.
So really gave me those tools, like lots of college professors. And Melanie Emery, who runs the dance studio now back home, has still been a constant support for me. So I would say teachers always, the dance studios that I grew up in, and then like the people, even just that community now still inspires me. I would say if I have something I want to do, a project I want to conceive of, it's always like a teacher who's, let me think of like how we can make this happen for you. Because they're always making things happen for their students.
I just love that. And I think we've been talking a little bit about like trusted adults and the people who see you and value you and also like give you the warm fuzzies versus cold pricklies. Like, I mean, think about the amount of times you've talked to a friend who had someone say something terrible to them as an adult and as a child, like you'll never make it or whatever else. The effort it takes to tell a child like you can really do something and to see your talent at a young age is just that's like the gift of teachers, to be honest.
Think it's
those are the right teachers.
Foundational. Like you can't replace it. You can't beat it. It's really hard to rewrite it. Like when someone really gets that in your soul to then, you come to these places and it's just, I've had plenty of times where I don't feel good enough. And then you know, I encounter someone who had faith for me in me from the beginning, and they're like, damn, like, yeah, let me try again. Let me do something else. Let me go at it another route. So it's always good to have those spaces.
I think particularly the performing arts too, because for those who have never been in an audition,
yeah,
I mean, it's
brutal.
That process can be daunting sometimes.
It can be super fun, but it can also be maddening.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you've never been to, now I'm a Northerner, so is it Macon or Macon?
Macon.
Macon.
Macon rhymes with bacon.
Macon rhymes with bacon, and that's the way that it's just always.
Now I know.
You go to Macon, I'm never going to forget it now because I love bacon.
Yeah.
You're everywhere. I want people to understand. The one time I went and I was like, yeah, I have a friend that's from here. Oh, who's your friend?
Oh, that's right.
And I said, Sasha Hutchings. Couldn't eat. Like, I was like, I just want to eat my French onion soup. Like, just give me a second. And how's she doing? And oh boy, when she was in 6th grade. And I'm just
Listen,
like,
honey.
This town, they love their babies.
That's my home. They do. We do. It's like, it's not a small town, but it's a smaller town. Mm-hmm. But it's close knit. Like, people know each other, and the arts community is thick there. Like, and so I think when people go out and do things, like, no, everybody's keeping track of you. Which, again,
that's cool though.
I have a really solid community there. I'm going home this Christmas. We're doing a friend of mine who also is an artist. She's an opera singer. Jasmine Habersham and we're going to put together a Christmas concert or like a holiday.
Oh my gosh.
Home for the holidays concert. And we've had just like, you know, we're like, I don't know how to do this. And we just start reaching out to people. And again, Theater Macon, where Jasmine grew up, and like everyone's like, we got this, or I can call this person, come and like put it together. We'll figure it out. And I think I'm just very excited about what that will mean.
That's really cool.
And that's another thing that I was just really like, who do I know? And like, what do we want to do together? What do I value? What's important to me? So like, Macon, don't sleep, but you know, I mean, like Little Richard,
exactly. Oh yeah, y'all have the people. Yeah, y'all have the people, and even the relationship
legacy.
I was about to say, like, spending time, whether it's doing movement work or working with organizers in the South has narratives of these legacy cities and these relationships with labor, or like spaces where people that were once in the military would move to. And Macon comes up as this was a really important city, and even in the like Great Migration storyline of like where people would stop in different spaces. And it's not everyone's Atlanta, but it's somebody's Atlanta. Like, right? It has Middle that Georgia, history. Yeah.
If you think about like trying to travel around and do movement work in the South, you need somewhere to stop.
Exactly.
Because it's Atlanta, a little bit of Savannah, but Macon is right there in the middle. Like, and like my family there, the Hutchings family especially, was like very involved in civil rights and movement work in Macon. And so there's stories of people who were stopping by to like sleep on the couch, you know, and like, and I think those cities and those spaces in Georgia specifically, thinking about like the connection, the places that you need to know you're safe.
Yeah.
And I do think for the Black community, Macon is a place where you can find some safety.
I think that's a good segue into another way of kind of looking at SALT. I was infatuated with SALT in chemistry class. I just thought I was like, I thought it was so dope that sodium as like an element is one of those things where like it doesn't lose its saltiness. It like, it doesn't matter like what condition it's in, but it also can endure like really, really rough like conditions. And so I was thinking, and then obviously when it's added to certain things, it can like accelerate things, and it can be like this catalyst. I know a little bit about your career. I know quite a bit of, even you have connected me to some of the different workers in front of and behind the scenes of specifically like Broadway and theater.
Yeah.
And when you think about SALT in the sense of like catalyzing as someone of African descent, as a woman of the South, and as somebody who is a producer while also helping to create somebody else's image of a story. Just want to get a sense of, what do you feel, all the intersections that you represent? I consider you a salt of the earth. So what do you feel like you're catalyzing whenever you're in somebody else's story, or what you represent, you know, or feel, or maybe, or I don't know if you think a lot about what you hold when you are, you know, in front of a stage that, in all honesty, has an interesting relationship with our bodies and who we are on the stage.
That's a really great question. I think about it a lot. The first thing that I encounter is what other people think of my body and what it represents. So I think through life and definitely through stage, it's something I've had to consider. I'm African American. I'm very fair skinned. I'm like a thinner dancer's athletic body. And I think, but I have very Black features. Like I'm not, you're not really mistaken by, like, I would have a tough time. It's not ambiguous. I would have a really tough time. Like I could put on a straight wig and try to like figure it out, but somebody would be
how
like,
am I doing with my straight wig, girl?
You're looking great.
Still Black though. Right. Is it you?
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, so I consider the stories that my body holds. And I think something like Run the World was such a fun girlfriend time show.
Oh my gosh.
But I think within those worlds, within a show like Run the World or Damascus, where there's multiple kinds of Black people, I get to explore a little more depth and a little more texture than sometimes when I'm being placed as a token or in a very specific function of a Black character. I don't do as well in those circumstances because I think that I look one way and I think that my energy and my story is very different. So I always contend with that. Depending on who I'm encountering, there are different expectations of who I might be, but sometimes I get to play with it. And I think Hope in Run the World was a combination of women that I know in my life. So I always bring the people that I know. And so, but she was very light skinned, like at times, right? Like she was that light-skinned girl. Like she was.
Explain light skin at times, because I know what you mean.
What is that? How can I explain that? If you know, you know. Just sedity, which is another word that you might have to explain.
Yeah.
But into enjoying the maybe proximity that you have to more an acceptable hue and the laud that might afford you. It's a little toss even if you have natural hair. It's like Glinda is light skinned. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Like she's got a light skinned spirit.
Yeah.
Glinda,
not Ariana, like not a white Glinda, but like if whoever Glinda is.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that.
You know what I'm saying?
Glinda, if we're going to real talk, so Wicked has a different conversation. Wicked, the movie, has a very different conversation, I feel like, not just in the play, within Black spaces than in other spaces.
Yes.
Because Glinda is also someone we know.
Yes.
And not necessarily
an other. She's in our community. We know her.
Interesting.
She's Hope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So she's also very recognizable in my community as well.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. Everybody knows the Glinda.
Yeah. That's interesting.
When you said that light skin like Glinda, though, that's what had me like flip. Because I'm like, shut the front door. It ain't just us.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I put this? Like, you know her when you meet her. But I think that allowed me to bring in who this woman maybe feels like on face, like Whitley,
for sure.
It's Whitley's like quintessential. But then I was like, I enjoyed the fact that she had more grounding moments with these women that we also know exist. So I think there's a lot more texture that I'm able to bring within those kinds of stories, but I have to be aware of the story that I hold for other people. Yeah. Like the story that my body holds for other people, the story that my skin holds for other people. And when I say other people, I mean Black people, because that's really who I'm trying to take. That's the audience and story that I'm trying to take care of.
Yeah.
I think what I run up against in other spaces where there is maybe not of my community, when people are asking me to take care of things that are not of my community, that's when I feel a lot of friction. And I kind of just don't care about that. And I just try to tell the story that I want to tell. And I show up as I want to show up. And that's somebody else's problem about how they want to present this to whatever audience they're trying to feed. It's legit. It has to do with money. It has to do with a whole host of things. Yeah. So I just try not to concern myself with that. When it's, as the actress, it's not my concern. As a producer, it might be my concern. As a director, it might be my concern. As a writer, it might be my concern. But when I'm approaching a character I'm the one embodying it, then I just try to be responsible to all the stories that my body, skin, soul, memory holds. And I try to bring as much of that forward as possible.
How do you create that boundary for yourself when, let's say, you're not producing, you're just acting?
Yeah.
And the producing entity has a very specific way that they want you to show up for maybe the communities that you are not centering. Like, how do you create that space for yourself that boundary?
Usually I don't even make it that far because they know that I'm not going to do it. Like if it's like in an audition, like it's very quickly that you understand that there's a friction in the room. And I've had, you have conversations, and I think it's for the best. I think that people are making the work that they want to make. And if that story might be valid, it just might not be the one that I am like ordained to tell for whatever reason.
Reference,
you know what I'm saying? Hallelujah. And so I just try to like let that go. I don't know that I've gotten far enough, which is probably truly for everyone's sake, by the grace of God, to a point where it's really been a point of intense friction in a space. I think most of the time when I'm working with people, there's been enough understanding and respect up to that point.
That's great.
There's usually a conversation though. Like if somebody has, and I think you have to give people the benefit of the doubt of the story that they have in their head. Because it's not that it's not legit or that it doesn't have, reference or motivation, or that it's not that it's not motivated by truth. But sometimes the way that you're encasing something or who I am, I might have to explain why that's not how I can enter this. Because there may be some texture to it that's not understood, especially if they're not of my culture, or like I'm trying to take care of one thing and they're trying to take care of another. And you just have to figure out like, what can we actually hold in this moment together? And usually, hopefully, you're able to come to an agreement about it. I don't know what it's like not to, because like I said, I think I get locked out of those rooms by the Holy Spirit. I really do. Yeah. I really do think I'd be like, no, we're not going to do that.
It's another version of like a voir dire, like when they're picking jurors for jury selection, and just the sense of like, you can walk in the room and you already kind of know what questions you're going to ask. I like to play in my head what questions are probably being asked when I was, we don't have to go into deep dive, but I did see the Diddy documentary on Netflix. And they had two jurors that were there. And I was just like, I wonder how they feel now. But that's a separate conversation because like it would be little things like, no, I'm not a fan of his. But when that witness was talking, I looked at him and I was like, I looked at him and he looked back at me and we shook our head, and we both knew. It's not because I'm a fan of his or not. It's just we both knew that was crazy. And I'm here like, what question was asked to like pick that person? And I feel like there are several different spaces, whether it's HR or, a play or singing, who's going to be lead, that there are particular visions, right? And I think that's what you're speaking to. And there is an intelligence there around like, even if I can do this, like, can I fulfill the vision, and can I fulfill it the way that they want it? And I love that you said, that you feel like it's the Holy Spirit. And even the way you said it, I was like, I'm going to tap into that, because it's one of those, like, there's the Holy Spirit, and then there's the Holy Spirit that come and just plucks you out, right? And puts you to the side. Yeah. And we'll circle back to that, because I do feel like it's, one of the things that we're trying to invite is however people define faith, like, or that consciousness, that intuition, whatever it is that is speaking to you, like, time to go, like, let's activate that a little bit more and not box it into like religiosity or whatever, but like, how is that guiding people that we just see that are able to build and also build healthily for themselves, these practices that are like, yep, I know the macro is out there. Sure, there should be more Sashas and others that are in front of the stage, but also my discipline is, I'm not going to force myself to be in a vision that's not for me, or it's never going to work, regardless of how well I perform. And I think that's, there's tensions there. And even as we like move towards this space called flipping the tables.
Nice. You have a sense of what we're going.
Yeah. Like the spirit is going to move all the way through till the end. So that's just the way it is, right?
I just flipped it right over.
Flipping the tables is that so is that tension that I feel about what is the artist's role today, right? Like Nina Simone, you know, I play her often, that clip where she talks about an artist's duty is to reflect the times. And she's, you know, knowing her career as somebody who was classically trained, and whatever that means, because there's also like this sense of like she gave up something as a classically trained artist.
Also,
and it's
what's
like
classic?
What is classic also, but what makes her unclassic just because she is also fighting, right?
Or
so
like,
there's a
like
whole
legitimize
range.
her
How do we
genius,
exactly?
like she was formally trained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And formerly, right? Like was she ever formerly?
Yeah.
Also like this very clear like distinction of like, fine, if there is a distinction, she calls out that like artists are to be not blah and not just hitting the notes and what have you. So I invite the other parts both on and off the stage in this time that you introduced at the beginning, that like we're in a crazy time.
Yeah.
As to number one, through your lens, because every artist is different, what are some of the high notes of what troubles you about today's times? Just high notes.
High notes.
I know it's hard to find one, but if you can just find a thing that may be wrong.
You're like, is this an 8-hour podcast?
And then also like not only for you to reflect what do the times mean for Sasha, but then also what does your duty as an artist, what does it feel like your duty is in this moment?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go to our favorite book, Wars and Rumors of Wars. This is where we're at. Just really like, if there's ever been an end times, it feels like now. I love to like pull Wars and Rumors of Wars out in like casual conversation just to see who was there, you know, who was in church, who was like on a tribulation trail during Halloween.
I was not in church, so if you want to give the top lines to our
Revelation, 4 horsemen, it's like wars and rumors. Like, how will you know?
Yeah,
there'll be wars and rumors of wars.
Oh yeah, like the beast arrives.
The beast is coming.
Like
something has a lion's head or something. I don't know. It's like a lot. Like honestly, was it John that wrote it? He's probably like, did they have absinthe back then? Like, I don't know. Like maybe he was like a little high.
It was a dream.
So you see what I'm saying?
It was.
You see what I'm saying?
A lot of mushrooms.
I'm not precious about this, but I do. I think it's like, I don't know. That's the feeling. That's the vibe. I think that a lot of people and institutions and systems and interactions on like the micro and macro are being driven by fear. On like a lot of these really visceral levels, and on some parts of it are puzzling to me, because I was like, but we have all the tools we need to address every single thing that's happening. Like we have all the tools we need to address global warming. We have all the tools we need to address like the wars and these, like we have what we need to deal with this, and it's us.
Yeah.
It's us. Like we're not doing it collectively. And yes, a selective number of individuals like truly not helping. And who those individuals are, like you probably have a different 6 for every person you ask. But I think that's, the times feel really confusing to me in that way, that at this stage of humanity, with this amount of access to information and technology and resources, that somehow some of the horrors of even like the past weekend that we've lived through are like, I don't know, like unsolvable, but they're not. And so then it just, I don't know. I guess I feel, and maybe I have the privilege to be like, at least at this moment, a bit removed, like, or a step removed from some of the most horrific things that we've seen over the past year. So I leave puzzled at like looking at what feel like they could be simple solutions, and like maybe a fear-driven desire to touch the stove. And I don't know why. I don't want to touch the stove at all. But I think in multiple arenas of this whole thing, there are people who want to burn it down, touch the stove, grab the cast iron skillet like with a bare hand, maybe slam somebody else in the face with it. But there's just a lot of like visceral fear and rage, like driving so much. And a lot of it is like well-founded. So that's how I feel about like where we're at.
Mm-hmm. I got a really crazy image as you were talking. So have you ever seen Kings of Comedy?
Yeah.
Have you seen Kings of Comedy?
It's classic.
When Steve Harvey says about the Titanic, the band played while the ship went down.
Baby.
That's how, that's the visual I got.
Yes.
Right? Is that like,
yes.
I want, like, and whether it's the tickle the bear or whatever, it's like, I want the bear to eat you. I may get eaten by the bear, but I also want the bear to eat you. Right.
Yeah.
So it's this like, it's however, whatever that curiosity is, it is scary to know. And curiosity is generous. I'm saying that there's kind. It's kind. It's a semi.
We're nothing if not kind.
We're nothing if we're not kind. Fine. So I'm willing to give that there is a curiosity there, but to your point, like it's a curiosity with a clear, violent visualization. Like think Children of the Corn.
Yes.
Or like Butterfly Revolution. Like
Corn, Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. Yes, that's it. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Very Lord of the Flies.
I don't know if there was a butterfly one, but like
Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly effects, like just this curiosity.
Yeah.
And it's like, but at the end of the day, what was promised was that a bear was going to eat.
Yeah.
So whether it's me, you, and now we're all playing going down with the ship.
Yes.
It's I love that you brought in that. I'm confused. We have tools to avoid this. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you curious about that?
I don't want to play as the ship goes down.
I know. And there's a real willingness.
I'm not getting on the ship.
Yeah, and there's a real willingness, like also like bring up the iceberg closer to the ship too. Like I feel like there's like a real like mutual destruction moment.
Yes.
Like
somebody's like on the steering wheel, just like
quickening it. That's it.
Ify and I actually met working on gun violence prevention after Sandy Hook, and it's for those who don't know what date we're doing this. There was yet another mass shooting at Brown University this last weekend, and in Australia as well, and the reaction from the two countries is really fascinating. How it was immediate thoughts and prayers here. And then there was like legislative action immediately in Australia, and both were horrific situations. Yeah. But to your point, like there's enough food to feed the hungry. There's enough resources
there's enough money. There's enough.
Yeah. And it's a willingness problem. So I find it very difficult. You're right. The four horsemen are here. And we're saying we're just not going to grab any of these rafts. We're not going to grab any supplies to help others, because maybe you get a few more rafts if you don't help others. Yeah. And how many rafts does one person need? Yeah. Probably just one for your body, or a door like Titanic. If we're going on all these references.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't find the urgency, again, because we don't know when this is going to be put out. I always struggle. I feel like Alexis was really the one in the gun violence space. And I say that as far as mass shootings, because my perspective was not really on like gun violence, because the weird thing about mass shootings is, of all the gun violence spaces that are out there, it's probably the most preventable, but it's also one of those things where the conversations we would have to have are beyond just guns. It's beyond just legislation. We would have to talk about violence as a whole. We would have to talk about who gets to be violent and who doesn't get to be violent, but also what type of gun violence we're sad about. And what type of gun violence never makes the news. So I was always tense about, I entered into that space initially because of the shooting of Trayvon Martin. And it wasn't about mass violence. It was about the acceptance of targeting specific individuals and using a range of privilege to do that, and how it doesn't even make, it was 2 months. Trayvon was already gone for 2 months before it was even a national conversation, right? So it's this mixed bag when you're talking about like this acceleration towards that iceberg. Yeah. It's also, the iceberg itself was already loaded, right? Yeah. It's loaded with a whole range of attitudes and belief systems and things that we just haven't been able to tackle. The iceberg is probably the right metaphor, because it's so compact with things that have been so normalized that when we hit, or when we see ourselves getting towards it, I too, like you, struggle with like, I don't know if people know that like once we hit both the impact and the substance in that iceberg already has a long runway of showing that like everyone's getting got. Nobody is escaping this.
Right.
So why are we continuing to put the ammunition, you know, pun intended, in the hands of individuals that also promised that this is exactly what's going to happen? So that's why I said my grace is actually in the, you must be curious if it's true, because the response of, and see, this is going to piss off some people, but like this whole thing of like, we've gotta hold grace for the fact that people were lied to. I'm like, I promise y'all, I heard what the promises were over and over again. Yeah. We are now in the midst of the promise. Why are we shocked now?
It's exactly what was foretold.
Literally, the prophecy was there, right?
I mean, we had a whole plan
over there, but somebody was telling the truth over here, and you chose to keep walking towards that lie.
Listen, so as an artist, like seriously, like
gaslighting.
Because if we're gonna call out some of these tools, I mean, people. This is why some folks are kind of like disheartened about voting. They're disheartened about civic engagement, and so artists, you know, our theory, I think, is that art has a different entry point for how people see solutions, see themselves in the future. And so like without taking all of it on, I would love to hear like how you are thinking about, and I love that you raised Damascus. Because I'm going to be very honest, it's been hard for me to watch TV for a while. And so to watch something that felt so refreshing and maybe just like share with folks what the concept of Damascus is. But it felt like, wow, I see not only us in the future, I see how we are also loving on each other through hard circumstances, even if it's just to model that like, hey, we're actually okay, even when we're not.
100%. I think of that other quote, I think it's Asada, but it's the job or the responsibility of the artist to make revolution irresistible. That quote. And I think there's just something, and ironically enough, like I do think there is something to playing as the ship goes down. Like there is a little bit of,
it's comedic, first of all.
It's hilarious. Suspicious.
I'm seeing him
suspicious. He was right. He was like, I don't think they were playing. Like, I don't know if they were either. But there is something to like speaking, I don't know. Yeah. Like really out of the taking everything in and putting it back out with everything that you have at, you know, in your hands at that moment. And regardless of what the next, 10 minutes might bring, or the next hour might bring, or the next 3 months might bring. You're just trying to keep your channel open enough to be of service to the moment. I think many artists do that through being of service to and a microphone for, or a vessel for civil rights messages and movements and inspiration. So there's just a lot of different ways you can be used as an artist and also just as a creative individual. I think you're just, the ability to stay open and available is critical. There was another part of that question that I wanted to dive into. Oh, I think a lot about our communities. Damascus. So Damascus is a show that I filmed in 2022 with AMC. We were shelved at the top of 2023 at the start of strikes and with the writer strike and then the SAG-AFTRA strike and lots of unloading and lots of tax breaks. So we were shelved, but thankfully our executive producer and AMC and Tubi worked together to give us a platform. So we're now on Tubi. It is free. And we're so happy that this show is out. It is something that in 2022, I was so excited to have my hands on. I was like, this concept is incredible. It is about a young Black man who's 33 years old. He's in his Jesus year. He says it's his year to be a martyr, and he's starting therapy and for the first time. And he's really experiencing a lot of struggle in his romantic relationship. I play Buddy, his girlfriend of almost 4 years at that point. He's just lost his mother. And he's sort of swirling, and his friendships with his male friendships, are also just like stagnant, struggling. And he enters this like sort of futuristic version of mental health treatment where he's like in what look like Oculus goggles, but it's sort of an alternate reality therapy. And he's exploring what his life would be like in different you can call them universes, you can call them circumstances, lifelines. Like, it's just, what if, change one element of his life, and then what does that mean? And he's trying to explore what his relationships mean through that. It is hilarious. It is a comedy. So it's sci-fi. It's dark at times. Like, it's just, every episode is like a different adventure, and it's meant to be. And you're just on this journey with this man who played by Okonawan, who's like, you don't usually watch a protagonist like that dig into his inner being. Like, we don't get to see Black men in that light. So it's just revolutionary on that level. I had never seen relationships explored in that way. And it would just hit me so hard because I'm in relationship with Black men. They are my lovers and my fathers and my uncles, and just seeing and my cousins, and seeing something that they could maybe anchor in was beautiful. But then also the women in the show, like Aunt Viv, Janet Huber is playing the therapist. You just see these full, strong women also wrestling with these men and their relationships to them, and also who they are in themselves, like in proximity. And it's just a beautiful portrait of Black life in that way. And also just of friendship and of love and life in general. Shelved. And so we're really happy that it's out now.
It's back.
And it's been interesting to talk about the show in the context of us not having a real life, like having a platform now, but not knowing if, there's any kind of second season, having been shelved, like not really, like, where do we belong in the landscape and in the conversations of, what TV is right now. And the reality is we don't have a firm footing or a firm place. And so we're not the story of like, oh, this story got buried and now it's out and like it's having all the success. We're sort of like in the wash of it all. And we're having to take care of each other, and we're having to take care of our work, and we're having to take care of our story. So we've been pushing independently and just spreading this to people, because I do believe that regardless of if we get a second season or anything like that, that it's important that people have access to art that could feed them. And I think a lot about the Black community, and I think a lot about just communities of solidarity, when you just get to this point and you're like, we have to figure out how to take care of each other, and we're going to be like radically creative about how that happens. And that's actually the magic that, like, after a generation or two gets like pressed down and shaken together and starts running over. I just can't help it. Like, you just got me in here talking about the Bible.
That's what
but you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that then becomes the magic that works later, that somebody can then figure out, okay, how can we systematically reproduce this for the masses? But it's the magic of making collard greens, of being like, this green will grow, and what we can do is boil it until it's edible. Like, with the scraps that we got. And now it's this delicious thing that is in dishes in everywhere. And we realize all the nutrients that it actually had, but that's what sustained us. So I'm not exactly sure how this ties into the original question, but I am thinking a lot about.
It's your duty right now.
Yeah. Like, that is the duty, is to like, where is the collard green of this moment that we have to work with in the dark, in the dirt? And that later, a generation from now, we'll look back and say, like, thank God they found that thing, or they figured out how to do that. And I think it literally, Damascus being on Tubi in this way, where I'm like, you know what, it's free, and it's free for the people that I want to see it the most. There's no barrier for anybody other than having like, an internet connection and a device to be able to tap into this. And I don't know how that works in the system, but I do know that, like, I want it to get to people. And I think that part of art, of just making sure we have really tapping into our magic of like, we can literally make things out of dirt. Like, we've like literally survived. And I'm thinking about Black people, like, survived off of dirt. Like, we'll make a root, and we'll make a stock, and we'll take the root, and we'll take this, and we'll take a green that nobody wanted, and that part of the pig that you didn't want. And we will literally survive on this because you're not feeding us, because you actually don't care if we starve. That mentality as an artist, I'm seeing. That's why I think of these darker spaces of just like in the corner of like, you know what, but we got a little bit of space over here. So what we're going to do is make this thing. And I don't know what the next step is, but we're going to keep making, and just doing that unapologetically, and really in fierce reflection of the times that we're on, that we're in.
That's super rich. There's so much richness behind that. And for those that, and I do think it's worth noting that even in our minds, there's like a distance between like AMC and Tubi, right? In people's minds.
Yes.
And for those that are interested in creating for our communities, there's the both and of like, and our communities always are worthy of quality. Our communities are always worthy wherever they view, wherever they get access.
Yes.
And I do think that there's something very rich about going to Tubi with all of the amazing indie work that's on Tubi and seeing the crispness as somebody who also watches AMC, and you're like, yo, this is on
it's
Tubi.
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's
shiny.
And it hopefully, I think, inspires how other artists get the tools that they need and the resources they need to also shine, regardless of the platform. And I think about, as you know, like you are a friend of our team at Pink Cornrows, and we throw Black Policy Lab every year, and you know, literally by the grace, it's free. And we always get the question as to like, how is something this high quality free?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's a different framing around that as to like, why is there something around quality and free that makes you feel like it needs to be a different type of...
That could set us free. That could set all of us free if we didn't think that experiencing quality had to cost you something more than you might have to give. But that on a level, you just deserve quality, healthcare, food, schools, educate, that's just something that should exist.
Well, and to your point, and I appreciate the inclusivity for all of us, and I want us all to rise, but Black communities have to fight for resources more than white communities. And particularly when it comes to like creation and funding. And I've loved like so much of what you said here today, and like the through line of like the resources, like having great teachers at a young age who are emotional resources, having resources and people who are willing to be scrappy, but also like figure out ways to create art that is needed. You know, I think one thing people often think about art is like, it's a nice to have. In my mind, art is needed. Like
for sure.
The moments in my life where I've been far away from my arts community have been the times that have been tougher for me. And so, you know, pivoting to this next section, which is do this in remembrance, I want to kind of like drill down in this resource conversation you have. Like what are the things you want people to take away? But what would a world look like if Black filmmakers and actors and people had the resources to actually do what, in my mind, is so uniquely human? It sets us above the other animals, is be able to like sing beautifully or create gorgeous things that make people feel alive again. I mean, so many of the projects that you've worked on have really been lifelines to people of like how they see themselves reflected, or to your point about Black men's role in society, and do they get to be soft, to have those moments of self-discovery. And so what would you want people to take away, because you're a teacher in your own right from everything you've built, and such a creator and a carpenter, carpenter's daughter. Hey,
congratulations, you've made it into the ship called daughter.
What would I want them to take away?
Yeah, what's your takeaway for people?
I think the one that we need right now is that you have what you need in your hands. And that can feel really empty. But I think that's actually the mentality that we have to have, because the reality is resources are low.
Yeah.
The reality is like the things that we're used to creating with, the money, the spaces, the time, the open-mindedness is low. And I think, so then that makes me say, like, I think the skill and the magic that we need is to really understand what's in our hand. And that's part of, I guess, like the faith thing of just like, if I believe I can do this thing, if I believe in this, if this is my ethos, if this is my value, if this is my vision, how do I behave within the reality that I have? And so again, I don't know what that means for everyone, because we all have different things in our hands. But I think I have found myself stuck in, well, I need this, or like, well, I have to have more. Well, if I only had this thing and, you know, or knew this person or had this connection. But again, I think when I'm like thinking about ancestors and I'm thinking about our stories and how we've held them and continue to push them forward, I'm like, there's just some of them had nothing and created out of that. And so my responsibility is what's in my hand, and to really steward that and be like relentless about mining it and trusting that it's there, if I just keep tapping this stone or keep doing that this thing is there. And then having the faith that that otherworldly thing that has to come meet you will be there. I think that's my takeaway. It's kind of like a harder lesson.
Yeah.
But to really, like, it is a time of really tapping your community and really, really sitting with like what's there. Salt water, like saltwater cornbread, just like we only have these ingredients. So we're going to figure out how to make something out of it. And I think that is a miracle. And also, I guess, like something I'm trying to, and not, not comparing it to like the shiny thing, the shiny, expensive, propagandized thing that's being put in front of your face.
Right.
Don't compare yourself to that because it's not real. And so what you're making, like what you're doing, just really, that's the magic of the thing, and really just really being rebellious and very revolutionary about that. Because the places where the resources exist is just not always to be trusted.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
Sasha, thank you so much. Like, thank you so much, because I think you're also speaking to us.
Yeah.
So we hope everyone and our mama got something from that.
Yeah.
We know our mamas are listening.
We've
got two listeners.
You gotta have another. My mama's gonna listen.
Three listeners.
She got a lot of friends.
We doubled.
Okay, so we've got Macon.
You got Macon. What you got?
Shout out Macon.
Shout out to you, Macon.
What you know is you got
It's all on you, Macon.
Listen.
Thank you so much.
We support. Oprah came down to Macon, did a whole favorite things because Macon was supporting so hard.
Really?
Yes, it was like the most people per capita watching, and she came down and did a favorite things show in Macon, Georgia.
Okay.
My mother was not there, and she'll never
live that down.
No.
Never let it down.
She was like, she was here. It's my favorite show. Sorry.
We're gonna figure something out.
Yeah.
Mama. But seriously, I mean, this is transformative, and also I just feel like an artist who's living the way you move through the world as a creator in all forms, and an activism and a teacher. I'm like, to me, that is like the ultimate artist that can be like these multifaceted approach of like, you must create. And I think that's like a takeaway for all of us of like, in a moment in time where you feel like everything kind of sucks in certain ways, like
even as the ship goes down, like I'm looking at the ship a little differently.
Okay,
like
Steve.
maybe they gave them 4 or 5 minutes of just Lux sounds before it.
They left with their biggest
always something to always a moment to create.
Yeah,
and that whole concept of like what's in your hand.
Yeah,
is really key.
Yeah, like what was that? If that's true. What was that sound? You know what I mean?
I love how you're questioning the whole thing.
Because the whole thing was like the black band was playing as the ship went down, and Steve was like, were they though? You know what I mean? So, but if they were, if in fact,
I mean, the 90 something movie did have a band. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
they had a band.
Titanic. They did.
They were black.
Were they?
Right?
They weren't black.
Are you sure? I thought that was a black man.
No,
in the band.
No. I remember.
I thought that was the joke.
I see their face. No, I think
maybe on the original.
I think he was. I think he was actually amongst community.
He was like
having us think about like, and the band play like that.
I got you.
I think he was having us think about like, would that be what you was doing? Right.
You're right. That's the whole question.
I know. I see that when the ship is kind of like, I don't even know what you call it, almost completely vertical.
No.
I know I would have been the fool still trying to run up to the.
Like, I'm gonna sit up here,
literally running sideways on panels.
Yeah, maybe scaling,
like
Spider-Man vibes.
like damn. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh man.
I think if they were, what a sound. You know what I mean?
Beautiful sound.
What kind of sound? And you don't know. We don't know. So we have to keep playing and keep creating.
What's your dream for you this year? Like, what's something that's going to give you
creating? Yeah. I've been trying to practice more of create and manifesting. I would say like creating the things, like bringing to fruition and not letting like my expectation of the thing or like the biggest, I like to dream big and then I'm like, how the hell is that going to happen? But just trying to put one foot in front of the other and like, put my popsicle sticks together and be like, I built that. Like I did that and just keep building. So I think more practice of that. Yeah. I have a lot of like ideas that live in my head. And then I think it's just been a real, this year and these times have really kicked me into being like, you need to make the things in whatever form they, come to fruition. So just start. And I think we underestimate how hard that can be. Yeah. Because again, you see a really shiny thing and you're like, well, they had all that help and they had all these things and they did. And the reality is like At the beginning of everything, there's somebody who had no help. Who had nothing.
Sometimes you need a vision. Like even what you're saying earlier, we talked about this a lot. Sometimes like you just want people to put an ideological view out there of like, I'm gonna do a holiday concert. I'm gonna do, and then the resources do come in a certain way. People are like, I want to get behind that creative leader.
To walk yourself out on that plank and just be like, I want to do this. And it is, it's just like building the plane in the air. It's that thing of just like continuing to step out and like wait for that thing to meet you. So that's my vision for my hope for like the next year. It's just really, and I think that comes with the self-generation of just like not depending. A lot of what I do depends on somebody saying yes to me. And I think I'm like really trying to understand, what does it mean to say yes to myself and create these things for myself.
Oh my gosh. I know we have to close. It actually reminds me a lot around, there's this statement that Sarah Jakes Roberts, and I promise I don't sit around just listening to sermons all day, but about at least 3 days out of the week, I'm listening to like different things. And one of the things that she said that sparked when you were speaking was how so many people, like when you talk about the shiny thing, it's like a lot of people can really be invested or excited about your promise, like what they see on the other side, but they really don't want to invest in the process. And she was like, but even as a personal discipline, we also have to be more invested in our own processes than the promise. And I thought that was beautiful because it's like, it moves the goalposts a little bit closer to your day-to-day versus this goal. And a lot of what we do is connected to these outcomes. And sometimes we think it's our goal, but it's actually like, if this outcome, if this trophy, if this reward didn't exist on the other side, then what is it that I'm doing to like glorify the living? What is it that I'm doing to glorify the mistake, the ing, the ups, the downs, the parts that nobody even really thinks about when it comes to that holiday party? It's like, actually the joy came from like contacting the people around me, like, you know, I'm going to bring this dish. What are you bringing? What are you doing? And next thing you know, we're all like Charlie Brown, you know, decorating this tree that at one point in time was losing all of its, Charlie Brown Christmas story, Christmas, whatever.
Also, if
like
he was in Charlie Brown back in the day.
I was.
Just want to say that.
And had an amazing speaking part for Pigpen, even though they had no idea. It was between Pigpen and Snoopy, and I got Pigpen, and it was like, whatever.
We'll unpack that in the next pod.
At some point. But I do appreciate, I know we're rambling, but I do appreciate as you're talking what that could mean for how we look at even our years and our resolutions a little differently.
Process.
So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. This is amazing.
Oh, we could do this forever.
Yeah.
Well, we will do it again. So let's hang out.
Let's just do it soon on a non-boat.
Well, not on a boat, baby.
A boat to Macon. Well, I don't know if that's possible.
We'll take that midnight train to Georgia.
I'll be on the train. I'll see y'all.
I'll be conducting the train. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you for spending time with us in our growing community.
As always, keep asking questions, keep taking care of yourself, and keep showing up with intention.
We'll be back next week with more curiosity, more conversation, and more light.
Until then, stay grounded, stay hopeful.
See you next time on The Carpenter's Daughter.
Yeah.
Thanks.